Hello, welcome to 10 8 Makeup Podcast. I am your host, Darren, and welcome to another episode. This is our first episode in the new year. This month, we have the incredible Joey Fafia on, who is a glam icon. I've known him for like 10 years on social media or online, and they were one of the first people I really saw online doing this really like glam, drag-inspired makeup, but weren't a drag performer. And we get into it in this episode talking about their history of where they started exploring makeup and why they started exploring makeup. It's a really, really fun episode. Obviously, this episode is coming out in February, which in the UK is LGBT History Month. So, a big part of this episode is us talking about and exploring queer nightlife and the queer nightlife scene and how that really plays into self-expression and how makeup is used in the queer and LGBT nightlife scene, which I think is really, really cool. Somebody's got a lot of friends who are drag performers and glams up for goes on nights out. It's really nice to delve into kind of those kind of conversations and topics and explore like why is that? Why is the queer nightlife scene a space where people really come out and express themselves so freely? So yeah, I really hope you enjoy the episode and let's get into it. Well, yeah, thank you for joining me today on the podcast. How are you doing?
All good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. So like getting straight into it, how did you
Mm.
start playing around with makeup?
It was kind of out of boredom more than anything. I think that kind of like is quite a common thing for people. But I've got a lot of friends who do like drag and are very involved in the drag scene here in Brighton and have been for a very, very long time. And it was just going out and then seeing all them, and then just like I was usually just like the person carrying bags for a while. So I was just like, this is boring. I want more attention. So I just started putting on a bit of slap, and like friends were very, very encouraging of it, obviously being like, very involved with the drag scene and whatever. And then from then on, I was just like, kind of went on a drag kind of trajectory for a bit. And then I was like, no, too much effort, face will do. And that's basically where we're at now. I mean, I say where we're at now as if it's been like a week. It's been 8 years, but yeah.
Love it. Well, who were the like the dolls that you were out with around the time that like were kind of inspiring you?
Oh, for sure. So very, very good friend of mine, Lydia Lescabies. She's kind of the one who was just like, put it on, just do it. And I was like, okay. I don't know. I'm sure you've met her before, but she's very like, how should I say, blunt, and she's not the kindest of people, which is great. It's my favorite thing about her, to be fair. But she's just a bit of an arse, and that's great. Um, Alfie Andre as well. Good friends with them. It's kind of just basically everyone, really. It's one of those things where you make friends with one person, and all of a sudden it's just like you've met this person, and then this person, and then this person, and it's just like a web of just people wearing makeup and silly outfits and making lots of noise, and that's kind of really it.
I love it. The two names you drop are like the icons of the Brighton scene, like two
Oh,
icons of Brighton drag, like Lydia Scabies and Alfie Ordinary. Like,
yeah, no, they're very good friends of mine. I mean, I've known Lydia for like God, a horrible amount of time, about 10, 11 years, and then Alfie not as much, but still like coming up to a decade, I think now at this point.
I guess they're good people to have as drag in inverted comma parents.
Yeah, I mean, Lydia hates it. When I was doing drag, I used to refer to her as mother, and like, oh yeah, she was the one, and da, 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 and she was just like, don't ever say that. And I was like, I'm just going to carry on telling every single person that I come into contact with, if they're like, oh, do you have any like friends who do it? And I'm like, mum, and then just pointing at Lydia and throwing things, and yeah, but yeah, she's got me back for sure.
Love that. I love that. Do you think like playing with makeup and stuff has like had a role in your like self-expression?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, like I think I'm kind of very like equal balance of sort of introverted and extroverted. Like if I'm not going out, I'm literally shut in my room and I'm just like silent, just like watching TV or just like staring at the walls, like, coping with with the world. I think in terms of like expression and things like that, I was like, it's so much fun just to kind of like it going out and obviously seeing your friends and doing things like that is obviously a very exciting part of like life in general. I find the getting ready part so much more like the therapy before I like go out. So I'll sit there often 2 hours in silence, just putting makeup on, which I know is quite unhinged and probably sounds quite insane. Like dead silence, just sat in my room, like staring at a mirror and just like no lights on, just one big like white light in my face. for hours and hours on end. But I'm trying to get out of that. I'm trying to like converse with people whilst I'm doing it, but I'm just still just like, no, just, silence is better. But yeah, no, I think it kind of does make me personally feel a lot more confident. I think that's obviously very cliche and stuff, but I feel like, yeah, it's almost like a mask in terms of you just kind of, you can talk about all the fun stuff. In fact, I was kind of saying this to my friend last night. I was like, it's almost like a barrier to knock out all the stuff that's like super really like heavy in the world, and then just be like, bit of slap on, bit of glitter, going out having fun kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's an escape, I think, more than anything.
Definitely. Do you just do makeup for like more like nights out and stuff like that? Is that your kind of time where
Yeah,
you
I
glam up?
mean, sure. So like a full face, yes. If I'm just going to like a pub or something, I'll put on some tinted moisturizer and hope for the best and hope that it doesn't oxidize too quickly, and then I'll be an orange mess. But yeah, if it's like a full face, then yeah, it will be like either going out or like a birthday or something like that, something where focus and attention is required, rather than if it's just like to the shop. I'm not gonna put on a full full face to pick up milk, you know.
Do you find that like the nightlife kind of scene is a like safe space to be able to like play with makeup and stuff?
When I first started, no, it was really weird because yeah. So like I say, about I'm verging on like a decade of putting on makeup now, like this amount of makeup kind of thing, and going out, and it was like I wouldn't see anyone like, you know, you get the girls who get all dolled up and stuff and wear heels to the club, and it's like you're going to regret that in like an hour's time and stuff, and they're the ones like fully glammed, but like looking around there was no like male presenting people wearing makeup very like at all. And now like obviously everyone's sort of dabbled, and it's become more of like the hot commodity is like, you know, to kind of like, you know, be a bit sort of out there and different, and this is like now becoming normal, which is I think is so great. I think it's so much fun. Plus you can actually go up to people and like it doesn't feel like people are coming up to you and you being like, oh, you look good, and it's like, okay, sure, thanks, but like coming up and being like, you look good, and it's like, oh no, but you look good too. So it's like having that conversation rather than just being like yelled at by people being like, ugh, and yeah. But I think, yeah, when I first started, it was very odd. I would feel very uncomfortable, like the journey from home to the club. In the club, it was fine the first couple of times. I mean, I looked awful, but like that's whatever. Like the journey to the club and like getting in was just like a bit weird. But then as soon as you're in there, everyone's like a bit drunk. Everyone's just like there to have fun. Most of the time, people don't even care what's going on around them. So it's like it's yeah, it's more of a mental block because you know obviously we put these things up to keep ourselves safe and whatnot. But nowadays, like I say, everyone is playing and being silly. So yeah, I think it's a lot better now.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there was like, especially in like the queer scene, there was a time where like, yeah, everyone would go out and like, obviously it was a gay nightlife, but it's felt like very much more like more straight coded where people would just like dress up, but like not up unless you're like a drag queen. Where now we're at a point where people are back to kind of almost how it felt like it maybe more in like the 90s and stuff, where people are more experimenting with like makeup and outfits and stuff a lot more than they were doing like 15 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that whole sort of like, you know, things come in phases. Like, you know, people talking about like blush blindness and stuff like that, and it's like that was like from the 80s. People just weren't using anything aside from blush. Like it all just kind of resurges every now and again, and you know the clean girl aesthetic kind of thing that's coming around at the moment, which is all very like muted and stuff. And obviously 2016 was just like rainbows and sunset eyes and this and that. It will just resurge eventually. It's just like everyone will look like a clown again, and then we'll all go back to being like, you know, soft and subtle, and then ever a clown, and then it will just go in that kind of cycle of just looking insane and then looking normal and then looking insane. But it's all fun.
But I do remember when I was like at university and stuff, like seeing your posts and your content online and seeing like your like full glam like looks on like that, and like it was also like amazing and cool to see, but it did feel like you weren't it wasn't as popular, it wasn't like it is now. Like you were someone that was doing it and like it was different for the time. And especially because you weren't doing drag as in like you were doing
No,
like the face, but then not like you weren't a
yeah,
drag performer. It was just like this is
exactly.
how you wanted to express yourself in like on nights out. And it was, yeah,
Yeah,
it was almost like kind of quite revolutionary at the time.
yeah. I think yeah. I mean, it's like the whole. I mean, people would come up to me and be like, "Are you a drag queen?" And I'm like, "No, just got like about 400 pounds of makeup just slathered onto my skull." And people would find it really weird and really like perplexing to be like, "So what's going on?" It's just like it's paint by numbers. I'm literally just smacking stuff on my face and hoping that it like has some kind of impact, and then I feel I walk around the club looking all like, oh, I feel like feeling myself, and then going into the toilets and being like, oh, pics with the girls, and then just like, but it was all just like a bit strange, but like you say, now it's much more like everyone's doing it, so it's much more exciting to me. I think it's more fun that more people are doing it, and I'm not the only one just like in a full face of slap and having to worry about like asking for a straw every single time I get a drink.
I also loved seeing like the evolution of your face too. Like there's still some things like you can still see like what your face used to be like in your makeup now, but it's but the evolution of it. Like you love like a bold like wing look. You've always loved a bold like strong wing and that bold blush. It's changed, and obviously you can see your skills have like improved over the years in the sense of and obviously just how trends and stuff change, and like
Yeah,
you now do more of a smoky soft wing rather than like a harsh black wing and stuff.
yeah,
But I was like scrolling down your Instagram the other day, and I was like, this is like going back to like quite a while. And I was like, oh, this is like how I remember you looking. But I was also like, I can see the similarities still now as well.
yeah. I was genuinely like, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I was going through my Instagram and just archiving old posts that I was just like, I've not looked at this picture for about 200 years. Like, what's the point? And it's like an era where it was like very sort of like heavy black wing, big like purple lip. Don't know why purple, but sure. And then and then every single time I would put makeup on, I would use the either the Anastasia dip brow or the KVD, like the other one. I don't know what it's called, tattoo, whatever. Um, and literally draw like oven chips for eyebrows, and they were about this thick, and it was just ridiculous. It was absolutely bizarre. I thought I looked amazing, but in hindsight, let's stick with something a little bit more like natural, a little bit sleek.
The time of like eyebrow pomades and stuff, that was a wild time where we all had like those thick,
Yeah,
full-on filled in block
just
brows.
blocks, like really heavily, like blended out in the center, like essentially eyebrows like that were just a gradient of color and not actually hair.
Yeah,
It was
like Nikki tutorials, but like really thick.
but like really, yeah, just bad. She does it well. I don't know how she does it. She's just sat there, just being like, "Yeah, glue my brows down, and here's a pomade, and it looks like normal brows." And I'm just like, "Shut up! Like, stop being so good at stuff. Like, be bad."
Talking about like like people who like queer people who do makeup, do you have any like iconic figures, or is there any moments in like queer, specifically queer history that have like inspired your like makeup looks and style at all?
Yeah, I think in terms of sort of like people, I'm not really that fascinated by like celebrities or like seeing like a big campaign and models and stuff like that. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I get the inspiration from my friends more than anything. So like in the early days, my one of my very very closest friends, Ellie Clark, she and I used to. So she lives in Glasgow, obviously. Me being in Brighton, literally like complete polar ends of the earth. We got really close over the internet and then ended up meeting each other and so on and so forth. But we just used to like essentially just FaceTime, talk about makeup, do makeup together. We used to recreate each other's looks. We used to like do the same look on the same night and things like that. And then when we would get together, we would like coordinate and stuff. So she's like a massive, massive inspiration to me. Again, Lydia, obviously on the drag side, but I think that's kind of like a performance aspect rather than necessarily the makeup kind of side. Obviously, it also kind of like
Drag
blends
her,
into one. And
drag her makeup.
no, her makeup is lovely now. And but yeah, I think, and then in terms of like moments in queer history, I remember just in my kind of like history, in like I was fascinated and still am. Obviously, it's very annoying and boring, but Drag Race and stuff, and it's like 2,000 seasons in at this point. But I love the creativity and the artistry of everything. So that's kind of very exciting. And I like, yeah, as I say, I love the makeup on there and stuff. So I think that would be like, yeah, cliche and annoying, but yeah, that would be probably like my pivotal kind of like thing that I reference that I still look at now. But aside from that, it's basically just like I want to wear green on the weekend, so I'll figure out something green. That's kind of where my thought process comes with doing any kind of eyeshadow or lip or whatever.
Love that. Who are your favorite drag race girls?
Like in terms of makeup, I think my favorite. Well, actually, it's probably just everything all in one is Shea Coulee. She's like, I think she's got the best makeup that I've ever seen. I worked with her in Bristol like a very, very, very long time ago, and she's just flawless and stunning, and it's just like, again, it's one of those things where it's just like they're so nice as well, and it's just like, can you just be bad at one thing, or just be horrible or something, just to make you like not the best person I've ever met. But yeah, I think probably Shay. She's got the nicest face. Yeah, for sure.
Nice, yeah, yeah. I've met her years ago at like back before DragCon was DragCon. It was like Drag World. I think I met her
Oh
there, and
God, yeah, yeah.
she was super lovely. The picture, it does make me laugh. The picture I got with her, her like wig line is like lifting in the picture, and I didn't notice it, but other people clocked it and like zoomed
Oh
in. I was like,
no.
oh, you're so mean. Like she looked to me, she looked great, but everyone else was just clocking her like lifting wig line. I was like, oh, bless her.
Oh God, yeah. Well, these things happen, especially that was the one that was in
But then like
oh, what
Ken,
is it?
Olympia.
Yes, the one that's basically a giant greenhouse
Yeah,
full of drag queens who
yeah.
wear a whole bunch of makeup and heat and waxy makeup. That's all going to be
Yeah.
everywhere, and everything's going to fall off. So yeah, wild.
Yeah, we have it good now that it's in Excel.
Yes, for sure.
The change in like the like queer scene, I guess, over time. Have you found that like that's like pushed you to be maybe more creative or experimental in like your makeup looks for like nights out and stuff? I know, especially in Brighton, you have like polyglam and those specific nights that like
Yeah,
always have a theme and stuff. And I think that really encourages people to like to dress up more and play with
sure.
like makeup and stuff a lot, don't they?
Yeah, so I mean, like the evolution in terms of like from day dot to now, I think there was a long time where like it was when people were starting to play with makeup in the past sort of like 5 or so, well, say 4 or 5 years kind of ish, post COVID kind of situation. It was almost like I felt like I would potentially have to like compete and like, oh, I need to make sure that my makeup's the best and stuff like that. And it's just like, and now I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care what like people are going to say I look nice. I'm going to tell people that they look nice, that kind of thing. And I think, yeah, there's a lot more sort of like queer nightlife like coming up and popping up and things now, which is going to make everything a lot more comfortable for the people who are like just starting or like, kind of still in the early days and still kind of experimenting and things like that. Whereas, me being like a haggard leather old boot, like I could do this with my eyes closed in about an hour and get everything done, kind of thing. But the people who want to like experiment and things like that, I think it's a really great situation that these kind of venues and nights and things are popping up, because it gives them the opportunity to be creative. Whereas they might be in a similar situation to me where day job or day to day life is maybe not the most appropriate thing to slap on a full face and you know work in an office and stuff. You might get a few funny looks and things, but I don't think people should be discouraged just because society at some times of the day says that it's a bit weird, because at nighttime and where all the creatures of the world are, we're all being silly, so you may as well join us.
Yeah, definitely. I think yes, the best. Yeah, I think that sometimes it is like the inspiration you get from the other people in the nightlife scene, especially in the queer nightlife scene, is incredible. Like you see all sorts of people and
Yeah,
all styles of people as well, like from the
yeah,
drag queens and drag
yeah.
performers, drag creatures, as well as like people like you who are just dressing up for the fun of it and for the
Yeah.
attention. You see so much
Mhm.
of it. It's crazy out there.
Exactly. It's such a great thing to have, people who are literally, essentially I'm putting on makeup to basically stare at myself in a mirror for like 6 hours, like that's that's kind of like my goal. But that's, it's a space where you can do that and you can be that kind of like person who you're not necessarily throughout the day. So it's kind of like a fun sort of like jump into a distorted reality where, we've all got to go home at the end of the night, but for the time before the end of the night and when you come out and stuff, you can be a weirdo, you can be annoying, and you can be silly and stuff like that. So long as you're not, being awful to everyone around you, but like you can be that kind of like alter ego of yourself.
Do you have? Is there a moment when you're doing your makeup that kind of alter ego kind of comes out? Is there like a specific moment?
Oh,
Like,
as soon as I sit down, I turn into a monster. I'm like Bridezilla. I will literally sit there, as I say, completely pitch black room, all the blinds are closed, one big light in my face. I'm just like sat there and I'm staring and I'm like, you're not good enough. Let me make you good enough, kind of thing. I do feel like awful. I feel like not awful as in like bad about myself, but I know I've become a bad person when I'm putting on makeup because I'm so like, I'm just short. I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want to be told that I'm like late or anything like that. I need to, when I'm ready is when I'm ready. It's not when you want to leave. That's, yeah, as soon as I sit down, I become quite awful. But it's quite fun.
it being that diva for the moment is great.
Exactly. And then as soon as I go out, I'll have a drink. Then I'm just buying everyone shots and running around and being silly and saying hi to everyone, and saying hi to people that I've met like 7 times but don't remember their names. And you know, the whole kind of normal going out situation. So
Yeah,
I get my
the way
moment,
is.
literally, I get my moment of being awful on my own in private in my room before coming out.
What's your favorite part of doing your makeup?
It comes in waves because it really depends on my skin, like on the day, because I love doing foundation and I love like plastering over everything just to be like, here's a blank canvas to do anything. But if my skin's a bit dry, then I hate doing it because it starts separating and I get so annoyed. And then it'll be my eyes, and I like doing my eyes. And then sometimes my eyes are like dry or watering and stuff like that, and then I hate them. And then it's my skin. It really does vary. I mean, I'd say overall, probably my eyes are my favorite part to do, just because it's like the bit that you can be the most. You can change every single time. Like your base makeup, yeah, you're putting on more blush, yeah, you're putting different contour on, you're putting more bronzer on or whatever, but it's all in the same place. You don't. I mean, you can by all means, like there's nothing stopping you from like putting bronzer in the center of your face and making the rest of it white, but it's not personally for me. But yeah, I think eyes are probably my favorite just because it is like the most different every single time.
What's your favorite look that you've ever done?
Okay, there was one. I've got like three. Like I say, I spend a lot of time staring at my own face. During COVID, I did this look where I basically had a band hair and I did it in white and cow print. And
Nice.
that was really fun, really annoying to do, and very just tedious and time consuming, but the results were great. Another time it was a Halloween party, and I don't know what I did on this because I've taken like a grainy photo and it's on my Instagram, but my eye shape is so nice and I've never been able to do it that way again. And I have no idea how because I've tried to recreate it like I'm going to say about 200 times and I've not got it right. Um, but there's just it's just this one eye that really sticks out to me on that. I've got like a red contact in. It's just a red eye with like a bit of white on the lid. Nothing special, but it's just like the shape is just so pleasing to me. And then I think my final one it's just like a nice brown smoky eye, and then I've got a really like minty blue eyelid, and it's just really like the kind of like retro kind of 60s kind of color palette is really kind of like speaks to me. Don't like wearing the color blue, but yeah.
Do you have any like favorite colors that you like wearing in like your makeup, especially for your eyes and stuff?
Yeah, this is the thing because it's just like I used to do so much more creative stuff, and then like as time has gone on, I've got more and more sort of like neutrals and browns and things like that. But I think there is something so like you can create so many different like shades and depths and tones and things with the neutral shadows. Like I've literally got like three eyeshadows on my eyes today. I mean, it looks like I've got quite a lot on, but yeah. But literally, it's just three browns. So I really like your neutrals. Big fan of greens. I don't actually like the color green that much. Like it's never a color that's really spoken to me. But I really like. I've got a palette. It's a Be Perfect one. It's Carnival 2 or something. But there's like a little section of greens, and there's this one which is like really dirty. It kind of just looks like I don't know. It looks like moss. It's gross. It's a really horrible color, but I just love it.
I think sometimes it's those kind of really unique colors, right? Like even then,
Yeah,
like it's kind of hard to describe what kind of greeny color it is. They're the ones that are most fun because it's like it's not just the standard
don't see it.
green. There's
Yeah,
a uniqueness about it, a nuance about it.
sure. It's that whole kind of like you look into an eyeshadow palette and it's like you could just be looking at a sea of brown, and then there's just that one weird gross color, and you're like, that's the one I want to use. And it's always like a very dark brown with a bit of yellow in it. And it's like, oh, that's actually really difficult to work with and not very nice, but I'm going to try.
It pushes you to be like creative and to make it
Exactly.
work as well.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't, you grab a baby wipe or micellar water, wipe it off, and then do a bit of black and white, and then you're fine. Just take it
I,
off.
I think
Makeup.
it's really interesting what you were saying there about like more moving into neutrals as well. I was talking about this to a friend of mine the other day, and she used to be like always do rainbow colored eyeshadows, and we both used to do more like colorful looks. And then like
Yeah,
we were both saying like we don't know if it's because we've gotten older or if it's just like post pandemic that like we
yeah,
don't actually wear any colors anymore. We mainly just wear like browns. I'm more cool tone kind of brown person, and she's more like loves a warm tone kind of
yeah.
thing. And like we're like, yeah, what is it? And she was saying that she probably wouldn't go back to wearing as much colorful makeup anymore. And we were like, what is it about like the color to neutrals that is it? Is it because we're older? Is it just because like the context that we're living in, like what we're around at the moment, like
Yeah.
makeup is more soft and more well, like the trend is like that kind of clean girl aesthetic. Eyeshadow for like a lot of Gen Z and Gen Alpha isn't even a thing. They don't even like wearing eyeshadow. Like,
Yeah,
is
it's just
that
a
it?
few on
Because
the list.
yeah, is it just because we're not seeing that inspiration in the same way, or what? But we were just really trying to figure out like what's changed in that way.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of like the neutrals and things like that, like your browns and stuff, I really like your browns and your reds, especially, are like the easiest pigments to suspend in any kind of eyeshadow. So, like, I think wearability, number one, is that it's so easy just to do a brown eye because it's like you dip it in, you put it on, it's color. Like if you're working with reds and yellow, well, actually not so much reds, but yellows and purples and blues and things like that, the pigment doesn't suspend as well. So you really have to put more effort into it. So I think, you know, if you're getting ready to go to work at 9 a.m. and you've already woken up at 7 because you've got a commute at 8, but then you've only got an hour to like shower and get ready, putting a full sunset eye on is going to take you about an hour to do. So, like, well, I mean, it depends who you are, of course. But yeah, I think time, people are so like, because of like social media and things like that, people have no attention span to like look at things. Like I'm guilty of it myself. Like I scroll through TikTok and then as soon as I put something on TV, I'm just like numb to it. I'm just like, it hasn't ended in a minute, so why am I paying attention, kind of thing. So I think everyone just wants like something quick, and doing like a full beat with like colors and blending and da 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 da. It's just like a pain in the butt. So like people just don't do it, I think. And like you say, you know, you scroll through Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you're just seeing clean aesthetic, and it's like it's all well and good being like clean, but like don't want to look like everyone else. But each their own.
Yeah, I guess it also goes with anything you wear as well, right? Like
Yeah,
a brown smoky eye, even if you do a dramatic brown eye, it's going to go a lot more of any outfit you put on than
yeah,
a red one where you have to then kind of match that to your outfit too.
exactly. And then if you wear green, you end up looking Christmas, and then, you know, it's yeah. I think doing colors and then you're just kind of set in wearing what you're wearing for the day, and you can't really get changed into something else because then you know the colors are going to clash and everything's going to be a bit weird. Pink and purples and things like that, blending difficult. I think it's just easier to do a brown wash on the eye, and although it is kind of like, you know, boring and stuff, bring back like the ridiculousness. Like, come on, let's
Yeah,
look like clowns for like a year, and then we can all go back to like just a little bit of shimmer, and that everything will be fine.
yeah, I do miss that kind of like the big colorful. I don't even sometimes look back at my old pictures, and as much as I'm like the shape of what I've done or the blending's really awful, I'm like, but at least I went out then. Like I went out just on the day to go meet coffee with
Yeah,
a friend wearing a like purple smoky eye or this like blue green look. Like at least I did it. Now I'm just like couldn't be bothered.
no, that's so fair. I mean, it is fair. It's just, it's like we say, you know, doing that giant blue purple sunset eye kind of situation. It just, and it takes so long to do any of it, and you're using so much product, and you then have to. It's all like the back like office stuff of makeup where you have to just like clean everything, and it's just like ugh. The
Yeah.
cleaning of the brushing is the worst part of putting makeup on. That and getting like waterproof liner out of like your waterline. That's the worst thing in the entire world. Just leave it in there. It'll
Uh,
go away eventually. You'll absorb it. It's fine.
that's pretty much what I do. Like I'll take my makeup off and then I'm not going to sit there and scrub my waterline to get rid of the thing. I'll like wipe it a little bit. If it doesn't come off straight away, same with my mascara. If it doesn't all come off, I'll wake up in the morning with it all over my face, but then wash my face in the morning and it's all gone. So like,
Exactly. It's so true. I mean, I am very awful for this, but I fall asleep in my makeup all the time, which I do not condone, and I don't think it's a good idea because it will make you 1,000 years older in the next like 5 minutes after doing it. But then I'll wake up and I'll look at myself in the mirror, and all of my eyeshadow would have like sort of smushed off, and I'll be like, "Did I wash my face last night?" And then I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, "Wow, I look great." And then I'll go and be like, "Oh no, I didn't wash my face," and then I'll wash my face and then I'm great, and I'm like, "Oh, there's the mascara, there's the eyeliner, just like blurting all over my face and mixing with like whatever like soaps I've used, and then I've just got like crap everywhere and eyelash glue, and it's all a bit disastrous, really."
I that's one thing I'm good at. I always wash like take my makeup off. I don't know how well I take it off, but at least I try and take my majority of it off. But I guess
Yeah,
like doing like makeup and like full gown for nights out when you're like drunk when you come home, that's the easiest time
yeah.
to like not be able to take it off. My always fear is just like the pillowcase afterwards. That's why I'm always like I have to take it
Oh,
off.
dark pillows, you'll be fine. So I actually went through a phase really like really weirdly controlled of myself, but would come home after a night out and like decompress, close like, you know, sit down, take my like eyelashes off, put them back in the case rather than just like peeling them off and hoping that they'd like together in the morning, and then and then going and having a shower and just like getting really like prepped and ready for bed, like like being a human being. But like it didn't really last very long, maybe like a month, and then after that it was just like, oh okay, well we've woken up with mascara on and lipstick everywhere.
But you know, at least it's a tale for a fun night out, right?
Exactly.
Here's the last question. What
Yes.
message or advice would you pass on to like the next generation of LGBTQ plus people about like the role of beauty and self-expression in their lives? And like, yeah, what would you say to like young people kind of wanting to play with makeup and stuff?
Sure. I think don't. No, I'm joking. Basically, I would say take the time to like actually figure things out. Like, watch your tutorials, watch, follow along with other people, make friends with people who are putting on makeup so they can like, you can kind of guide from their face, but no one's face is exactly the same. So, I could put my makeup on, for example, your face and it would look wildly different and like, vice versa. So take the time to just like figure out your own face and figure out the shapes that you want to build, and you want to like potentially like, you might want to build on a cheekbone and soften a jawline, or build on a jawline and soften a cheekbone. Like learn those things before you like give yourself the time. And also don't be scared to like look a bit silly, because we all had to start somewhere, and I 100% looked absolutely atrocious for about 2 years, and it's fine because now you end up stunning and everything's all good.
I love that. I think, yeah, like definitely like take inspiration from other people, but don't copy other people. You see that all the time, especially in the drag scene, where you have the the guys who have like really masculine faces trying to do the super femme Crystal Versace face, and it's just like
Yeah,
that doesn't work on your face. Like to
it's not
you
gonna
need to
look the same.
contour.
Yeah,
Like, and they also have like, yeah, like do your own thing, like have that kind of unique point of view. It doesn't have to be drag, but like in your makeup, like yeah, have fun, do your own thing, take inspiration from
yeah.
other people, learn from other people, but also yeah, understand that you're everyone looks like crap for that to start. Like we're
Oh
not
my
all
god.
like the people on social media have practiced loads, they've been doing it for years.
Yeah,
It's fine to look like crap. Like
exactly. And part of that, like your friends will tell you that you look incredible, but sometimes it's okay to look a bit rubbish. I blame my sister entirely for this kind of stuff, because I used to send her photos of like what I was going out like, and she'd be like, incredible. And I was like painting an entire like block of red across my like beard area, covering it in craft glitter from like WH Smith. Again, don't do that. And then she would be like, stunning, amazing. And I was like, now I'm like, you horrible, horrible, horrible woman. How dare you lie?
you had it out for me. That like brain, but the glitter beard thing was like such a thing 10 years ago. Because I remember back when I had a YouTube channel, I had like a YouTube tutorial on how to do the glitter beard. Like it was definitely a thing that we were doing 10 years ago, and I don't know why.
Everyone doing like a red or a green glitter beard, and then waking up the next day being completely stained because you'd use like those flash palettes from eBay to like paint it all on, and then sticking like awful glitter on yourself, like not skin safe at all, just something that you got from like the Works or WH Smiths or something like that. And then again, that's staining you for like days, and also it just getting everywhere. It was, you know what? Actually, screw that. Bring it back. Let's all start doing it again. Let's all start putting on glitter beards.
Do you know what I'm thinking right now? I think it was season 7 of Drag Race because they had that beard runway challenge.
Oh,
I feel like that's what did us dirty.
yeah. Yeah, blame them. Yeah, it's fine. Blame RuPaul.
Yeah,
It's not
blame,
good.
yeah, yeah, it's the easiest way to do it.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, thanks so much for coming on. It was great chatting with you. And that's it for this month's episode. I really hope you enjoyed that chat. If you did, don't forget to give it a like, share it around, leave a review, and I will see you again next time for the next episode. Bye.